and creator of Enlightenment and Brother Malcolm.
Thank you so much, Sister Carolyn, for those wonderful insights. Great.
I can't hear you.
Oh, I thought you were having problems hearing me?
I can't hear you.
Oh, okay.
Just a second. I don't know what's happening, but I think.
Okay, Sister Carolyn, I think I've made the connection. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yes, I can.
Okay. Well, we had a little glitch, folks, but that's the way life is. You have things you need to overcome, you overcome them. You don't complain about them. You don't become victimized by it. You do something about it. That's what the meditation is about. I am the greater power, right?
I am the greater power, and remembering that sometimes can be challenging when you get caught up in unlearning and all of the things that happen in the course of the day. It's easy sometimes to transition back to toxicity, and it has no place when you're on the road to recovery, when you're on the journey out of pain.
That's true. So we're going to leave toxicity behind, get into enlightenism, and thank you for sharing all of those wonderful insights with us and with our listeners.
You're welcome.
All right, have a great day.
Okay, you too.
Okay, folks, you just heard Sister Carolyn get us started with our broadcast today. The journey out of pain. The journey out of pain is a journey through the mind. It's a journey within the mind. It's a journey where we understand who we are and what the greater power means. Enlightenism is a paradigm shift in consciousness. For those of you who have watched the broadcast before, and those of you that are new, my message, Sister Carolyn's message, is that we are divinely created with a powerful mind. This powerful mind has been corroded, infected by others' beliefs and values. And others have told us, taught us to believe that we don't have this powerful mind unless we think and act the way others want us to think and act. So we buy into this illusion, and begin to cram our minds with other people's information. And I've had numerous conversations with many individuals, many people, who believe this is the only way you can live. There is no other way to live except depending on others to teach us how to live in the world. And then we become like the animals, the lions, the tigers, the hyenas, and others. We stay in a pattern of thinking from birth to death. And there's no way out of the pain, at least insofar as someone telling us how to get out of the pain. Who are you aware of being? Is always the question in the forefront of your mind, of your life. Who are you today? Who are you aware of being? And what information are you using to determine your awareness of being? How do you know that you are the person that you're aware of being? What information are you using? And is this information coming from sources outside of you? External sources, other people. And if so, then who are you without those beliefs? And that's the message here today. You are whole, perfect, and complete, colorless, faceless, and formless. You have a consciousness. This consciousness says to you, I am greater than the person that I am aware of being. I am greater than the results in my life. So that you don't have to get caught up in, I'm a former, I did this in my life, I'm an ex this. When we rely upon the past, that's how we sound. I used to be, Somebody told another, I used to look this way. I used to be. And then people go and you get pictures and you try to recapture that which you believe is missing in your life. And not understanding that you are evolving. The body and the mind is in a constant state of evolution. We're always evolving from one awareness of being to another. But as we evolve, if we carry or embody the beliefs that we learn from others, then in our evolution, we carry those beliefs with us. So whatever you learn in the first grade, whatever you learn in high school, you carry those beliefs with you as a way to think and live. And they are restrictive. They restrict your own development. I'm not saying to anyone today, I'm not advocating don't get an education. I'm not advocating that you don't learn about things in the world. What I am saying is don't become so dependent upon what you learn from others to change your life. That's what I'm saying. Don't rely and depend so much on the sense certainty of the information that you have been taught that you ignore that you were divinely created with a powerful mind. And regardless of where you are in the world today, that mind is always there with you. You are always one with the consciousness of truth in you. What is the truth about you? How do you define the truth about yourself? People are not born to be poor. People are not born to be slaves and victims. You have to learn how to think a certain way to condition the mind to believe that you are such and such a person. But you're not born that way. You're not born a slave. And that was one of the things that when I was reading one of Karl Marx's books years ago. And one of the things that struck me about it, what his philosophy was, in addition to all of the things about materialism and so forth, but I just focused on one little statement. And he was arguing that a black person, he was using the word Negro, I think, at the time, is not born a slave. He must learn to think like a slave. Because you can be born black and not be a slave. We can be born, I'm getting into the now. We can be born with a certain race and color, but we don't fit the description of the race and color, what it really means. We all do not have to think alike, particularly if we want to be free. You don't have to think like your parents or your teachers or anyone else. You choose to, for something you desire to have. So when you choose toxicity, when you choose illusions, when you choose to depend on someone else, then that's where your dependency goes. And when you understand that you are greater than your choices, those self-imposed limitations you place on your choices. So if someone says to you today, can you exist in the world without theology? Just a question you could ask yourself. Can you exist and have happiness and peace without theology, philosophy, and psychology? And the answer is yes. You can. And you can acquire and achieve peace and clarity by freeing the mind of its dependency on others. I quoted Karl Marx. He was just one of the philosophers that I read among many that imparted some information, because at the time I was not on the journey, the inward journey. I was on the intellectual journey. I was learning from others about others. So whether you're dealing with Bertrand Russell, Whitehead, or anyone else, or Nietzsche, or some of the other philosophers, one of my favorites, John Paul Sartre. What does that mean that I know something about Sartre, John Paul? What does that mean about me if I'm living in an impoverished environment? If I am living in the world feeling overwhelmed and oppressed by racism, based upon the fact that I have been identified by my race, and that this identity is coming from someone else, and then I buy into this identity, this identification of myself, then I feel oppressed. I feel victimized. I am attached one generation to the next that's fixated on racism and overcoming it. So how do you overcome it? That's the question. How do you overcome anything in your life? It's not just racism. How do you overcome and live without the beliefs that create a dependency on racism as a way of life? How? By changing, by acknowledging that your beliefs and values that you were taught by others about other people cause you to believe that you are the way the society has defined you, and that there is no way other than the way of previous generations to change your life, to free yourself of oppression. So it's like someone said, a poor person going to another poor person and asking them how to make some money. And neither one of the people talking have ever made any money. So now you're depending upon things you heard about making money. Someone else. You're using them as a model to make money. And when you recognize and realize for yourself that when you depend on yourself, solutions appear out of the power and clarity within you. And then you know who you really are and how you became the person that you are currently aware of being and what you can do about it. This is a simple solution that requires a lot of work and a commitment to get off of the crowded road, to get out of the pattern of thinking and depending on previous generations to lead you to the peace, power, and clarity that you need to overcome your dependency on the past, to live in the present. See, we live in the present, but our beliefs came from the past. Oh yes. One does not need to know anything about John Paul Sartre, Nietzsche, Schopenhauer, any of those philosophers, to live in the world and have peace and happiness and a powerful mind. It is only when you compare yourself to another person or others that you doubt the powerful mind exists in you. Then you want to believe that John Paul Sartre has a powerful mind, Nietzsche, or somebody else, or Freud, or anyone, Spencer, so anyone that you have read about is greater than you. All of the great ones in the past. You believe they're greater than you are because you have heard about them. And then you believe it. And then you self-destruct and remove the power that you were born with and transfer that power to someone you don't know. We're all created in a real sense, equal. In a real sense, we are. And the equality comes from we all have a body. We're born with a body that requires a lot of things. And the body is temporary. It comes from the earth. It stays on the earth. Plain and simple. And when you recognize that everyone is this way, born this way, I don't care who you read about, the body must stay here and the body must decompose. And if you don't believe it, you go talk to the people that study bodies. Talk to the sciences and the medical people, and they will tell you this. But what does not stay and what does not belong in captivity is a powerful mind and the consciousness of truth within you. It does not belong in the world of illusions. It cannot live effectively in the world of illusions. So you cannot effectively be a slave or a victim or an oppressed person. Each one of those awareness of beings and mindsets require you to absorb pain. So you'll never find a person who believes they are oppressed or a slave or a victim or who is dependent upon someone in the past for their power to live in the present moment without pain. The journey out of pain is what I am talking to you about today and sharing insights about how Enlightenism is the journey out of pain. And it's a journey through self-discovery. Self-discovery is not just closing your eyes and wishing and hoping. No, it's the letting go of one consciousness and embodying another. This is the only way pure evolution can occur. You must drop one awareness of being of yourself and embody a new awareness of being of yourself. And the new awareness of being of yourself cannot be dependent on the previous one, the one you are dropping. You must drop it completely in order for the new one to be born. Hence, people say you must be born again. There's nothing magical about it. It is what happens all the time. But if you're being born in a cycle of pain and suffering, then you're carrying pain and suffering throughout your life. If you suffered as a kid, teenager, adult, then you learn how to live with it. You can teach somebody to live as a victim. You can teach someone to believe that change must come from what others did in the past. And I am saying change must come from a cleansed mind, a mind that has been cleansed of illusions that are dependent upon others in the past to teach us how to live in the present moment, in a moment where they are not living. We are in this moment, acting as if and believing we are the way that others have defined us to be. And I am saying to you today, you were not created by the greatest power in the universe to think of yourself as a victim, to believe that you must try to master illusions in the sense of learning all of this information that puts you in a place of constant and continuing pain as you evolve. You're evolving in a system where you have pain. And you can hear people talk about it all the time. It is painful to be black in the United States of America. Why? Because you believe in the things that's causing you the pain. That's why. But you don't have to. You do not have to believe in the things that are painful to you. Embrace the concept, the philosophy of Enlightenism. Straightforward. One, I acknowledge that I am responsible for what's happening in my life today, the current conditions. 2, I acknowledge that my beliefs and values created the mindset that I'm in today. And 3, I have the power to change my beliefs and values. And 4, to do that, I must enter into self-discovery. Thank all of you for tuning in. I'm Brother Malcolm. Have a great day. Check me back out on this broadcast and others. I'm with you with enlightenism. Have a great day.